I'm Ben Collins. I'm the co-creator of this app called Breathscape, which is a meditation mindfulness app that turns your breath into music in real time. I'm not here to talk about meditation and whether or not it will make you more creative, which it might. But I do want to talk a little bit about how we can hack the underlying Breathscape breath detection algorithm and use it to create a gestural music controller. Which is pretty fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is sort of walk through the setup and then talk a little bit more in depth about the algorithm and how it works. I'll show some examples of different things you can do with this MIDI controller. And then at the end, I think what I'll do is use Breathscape to just generate some algorithmic music inside of Ableton Live just by breathing, which will be weird and cool and fun. There are other apps out there you can get that have network MIDI functionality that include motion. I think Lemur and TouchOSC both do that. But what this does differently is it has this auto-ranging algorithm that we've developed for the breath, and that lets you be really expressive and kind of free with the motion, and it just kind of figures out where you're at, and so it's a little bit easier to use. First thing we'll do is open up Breathscape, and you can put it on any one of these music programs. Just open up the settings menu and make sure that under Advanced, MIDI CC and MIDI Notes are both selected. I'm currently using a Mac, and so to get the network MIDI going, you have to open up this program called Audio MIDI Setup that comes with your computer. So you're going to want to open up this network panel here with a little globe icon. As soon as you start a Breathscape session, your phone should appear under this directory here. You do have to be on the same Wi-Fi network as your computer, and you can also do Bluetooth MIDI. I slightly prefer network MIDI, but it's up to you. So click Connect. Let's talk a little bit more about the Breathscape algorithm. You can see that the MIDI CC values being sent out are mapping across this range. And if we decide that we want to use a shallower range, something like this, it's going to pick that up right away. So it's constantly looking for the minimum and maximum tilt value and constantly updating this range. And this leads to some really cool possibilities that feel really natural as you're moving the phone up and down, because you can kind of just be free with it. And if you want to do a little bit, you can do a little bit. If you want to open it up and be more expressive, you can do that too. And it just picks up on where you're at. So the other thing happening here is that we're sending out MIDI notes at the beginning and end of this range. Inside of Breathscape, this usually corresponds to the beginning of an in-breath and the beginning of an out-breath. But we can use these to do other cool things inside of our DAW, like if you're using Ableton, you can trigger clips with it, you can play notes with it, and then across the range, you can also do CC values that map to different parameters. So let's take a look at that now. If I open up Ableton Live, I've got this track here where I've loaded up a cello instrument. I've just got some random notes kind of loaded up in these different clips. And then I'm launching this empty clip, which contains a follow action, if you know about how those work inside of Live. It just sort of selects one of the adjacent clips here, and it's pretty good for just creating some algorithmic ideas. The other thing I've done here is I've attached the output gain of this compressor to the tilt of the device, which lets the cello feel a little bit more expressive as you move the phone up and down. And let's see what that sounds like. Kind of feels like you're bowing the air. It's actually a really cool way to play this thing. So we can also just take the CC value and attach it to an effect parameter on, say, like a guitar pedal. So I'm just going to put the phone on my leg, and I can just sort of lift up my heel. It's kind of like I'm using an invisible expression pedal under my foot. Right now I have this attached to the tremolo speed on a guitar sound. We can also hook it up to something a little gnarlier. Now what I want to try and do is control a bunch of different clips with Ableton using just my breath. I'm also going to turn the lights off in the room and get some MIDI lights going to make it a whole thing. So now with the phone against my stomach, I'm just going to breathe. Here we go. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to check out Breathscape. It's in the App Store for iOS, soon on Android. And let me know what you think.